Good morning, folks. We've got stellar features and characterization, wild weather and worse coming, snowflakes of the non-Antifa variety, and all the space news of the day. Let's begin at spaceweathernews.com and find the last day on our star very calm and quiet in terms of sunspots and solar flares, but not so much in terms of the coronal holes. They have set the earthquake watch, which we'll come back to in a moment, but first, the solar wind saw slight intensification over the last day, specifically in purple, the middle panel. Plasma speed rose steadily, but is still not cracking 500 kilometers per second, and so the weak stream is not having tremendous effects on planetary geomagnetism. Now back to the earthquakes. It began in the Philippines. We had been eyeing an end to the drought of magnitude 6 and 7 events, and the former has now been erased as a 6.4 struck shallow, causing considerable damage and a few confirmed casualties. Up next, we're going to Nigeria. A summer-like storm tore through and made October feel like the worst of their flood season in June. This one, not getting any better today. A similarly powerful storm struck Queensland, Brisbane, and surrounding regions, but this was about the hail and the wind. That is a trampoline up there, by the way. But now let's look ahead, because folks, this is not good. There is a 2% difference in the NASA and Euro model tracks, and it's about the timing, not the track itself. Eyes open in the Gulf states, as it must go northeast from where it sits now. Folks, there is a ton of the CMIP6 data for precipitation coming in. The next 3 years in climate science is much about shoring up the data for the upcoming major climate report in 2022. This is part of the American satellite contribution from GPM and IMERG. You can access the full video at the link below, updating 20 years of rain and snow. Up next, let's go out to space. Fun visualization of the first interstellar comet. We had looked at the large-scale view of its orbit and approach to the inner system, which is almost a generous statement since it never gets closer than Mars to the Sun. It will dive past and harmlessly exit the system, but will give Earthlings a spectacular view based on our orbital position around the Sun at that time. Hubble also snapped some shots of it on approach. Amateurs, you can start spotting it in your scopes here soon. Alaskan greening, or loss thereof, captured in this graphic, included not just for the information, but the bias in reporting. They drive hard in the article on the concept that some regions have lost vegetation, with little to no inclusion of the green regions, which are arguably larger, and deeper color indicating stronger, positive greening change. How about snowflakes? How about an entire book on their amazing crystal structures, how they form, and the many different kinds of frozen water? The full 12-chapter book was posted for free on Archive, including the best water phase chart I've ever seen put together. That one's on page 481. A recent study puts focus on the stars circling the galactic nucleus of the Milky Way, suggesting that their turbulent solar winds are driving the gas reservoir characteristics and blowing out enough material to keep the center of the galaxy from becoming ultraluminous. They conclude it's actually the key driver of central nuclear luminosity. Last but not least, there are no words to describe how complex it was to do this with radio telescopes. They found cycling and circling waterfall-like gas perturbations in the disk around a young star, where the material at the disk boundaries, top and bottom, falls or is sucked back into the central plane for agglomeration and concentration into baby planets. The world is still at heightened seismic risk. The Gulf states need to watch that tropical system develop. And website members, you've got 2 new Deeper Look episodes this week to check out. We greatly appreciate your support. We've got wind map forecasts and shots of our star to close. We'll do this all again tomorrow, right here, but right now it's 4:20 a.m. in the new Valley of the Sun. Eyes open, no fear. Be safe, everyone.